Tuesday you mentioned that Tegra was going to be the guy, right guard on board. What did you see from him, whether in the Nebraska game or that practice against Penn State, to give him all those reps, to give him the full reps right guard?
I mean, the first thing you look at is assignment, knowing what you're doing, and then you do your job, and then you just kind of start grading over time. And he started grading out well, doing his job. We feel like his size, he can match up with some of the best guys who'll play this season. The biggest thing with him is just consistency, and he can do it. He's shown he can do it. He needs to continually continue to mature as a player and all that. But every time you get out there and play a game, you're learning more about not only yourself, you're building confidence, but some of the things that happen in a game. Whether it's a different front, a different stunt, third down situations, things like that come up. So, we think that he's continually getting better every week, and we're going to need him here. He's got to play his best football here in November.
We got Spencer Holbrook on the 10. We got Seth McLaughlin on the 10. Spencer Holbrook.
Ryan, I think it took a lot of trust to throw that ball to Brandon in the second quarter in the top 5 matchup. What did you guys see that made him go from a guy who was helping on punt return and doing those things to now potentially being a bigger part of this offense?
Yeah, Brandon's somebody who brings energy every day. And he caught that pass. I mean, the whole sideline was on fire because he just comes out and works every day. He's not selfish. He's not a guy who says, I need this many touches or I need to get in the game and get this many plays. He just gets out there and works. And I think, early in the week, he was just saying, hey, whatever I can do to help the team. And that was all he said, whatever I can do to help the team. And, sometimes Brian does roll those guys. He just happened to roll those guys in that moment. We had a bunch of plays in, and Brian says, I got to get some subs in there, and Chip called it. And the thing about Brandon was, I don't think he got many reps of that play that week. I think Mecca got a bunch of those reps. And so then for him to put that on the field without physically doing it a bunch was a testament to his preparation, the meetings, the walkthroughs, because that's a big part of it. You get to this time of year, how many physical reps are you going to get of a play if it's schemed up for a particular week, which that was. And he did that, and so it was a great, not only to show you, like someone like Carson Hinsman or Brandon Ennis, 2 guys that really up until this point hadn't played a whole bunch, but in that moment were there and ready to go. So that was great for the team. But then also to see somebody at competitive excellence without getting a bunch of reps, that really helps our walkthroughs, helps our meetings, and make sure guys understand that. So Brandon's a very good player, and we're going to continue to try to utilize him.
Tim May.
Ryan, the fire and brimstone that you were able to get from this team last week and stuff, even in preparation, what have you seen this week, the first couple of days of practice, that tells you there's a carryover?
In energy, a lot of encouragement, a lot of confidence. Confidence breeds success, success breeds confidence, and you can just kind of see that building here as we go. But, I think, for our team, there's a confidence in the physicality that we brought to the table. Now, the execution's got to be better. If we want to get to where we need to be and be undefeated in November and continue to build from there, our execution's got to improve. But all that being said, we still have to bring the same physicality at noon against Purdue. And so, that's been the conversation. Practices have been good. They've been, a lot of energy out there. You kind of, I'm sure you can probably hear it from in here. That's just kind of the way it's been. So, we'll see how this team continues to grow. But, I think this is an important week for us to see where we come out of this game and where we are projecting.
Patrick Murphy, 24/7.
Ryan, you talked a lot in the offseason about going to make special teams a strength. How do you evaluate what's happened on the field, but also the coaching and kind of the breakdown that you did?
So there's a lot of work that's being put into special teams, and I think, to your point, I don't know if we're quite getting what we're putting into it out of it right now, and that was a challenge to the team this week. We got to start making all the work that we're putting into it show up on the field, and tired of saying one play away or one block away or whatever. We got to start doing it on the field. So we had a couple funky things happen to us, but overall I think the effort's been good, but it has not been a big plus for us this year. It's been solid. I thought the 2 field goals were huge in the game. That was great. I think overall there's been great effort and some good play out there, but it needs to be a plus for us. It needs to be one of those things that be a game changer. We haven't had that. Now some of it with the kickoff returns, you see a lot of the kickoff returns go out of the end zone now. You see some different things going on, but still it's a challenge this week to continue to get more production out of the special teams.
Ty Hamilton just made a stop at the goal line, everyone. Bill Rabinowitz.
Do you have an update on Tyleik's status and would he be on a pitch count?
I don't know if he'll be on a pitch count, but it looks like he'll be available for the game.
And how much encouragement do you have that you now know you've got more depth?
Yeah, I mean it's real big, it's real big. I just think that as we continue to go with this season, the healthiest team's going to have the best opportunities here. So, we got to go win every game. You know what that's like, but we also got to continue to build this depth and play this depth.
Stephen Means.
You guys haven't had Will Kazmir for a couple of weeks now. Just the progress report of him. Do you expect him to be back a little?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's healing quickly. He's still a couple weeks away, but he is doing great. He's all the reports back from the training room and from Mick is he's a little bit ahead of schedule. So that's encouraging, and we're excited to hopefully get him back here in a couple weeks.
Stefan Krejci.
To follow up on that, how have you felt like some of the tight ends have progressed and the way Bennett's kind of stepped up in a little bit of a bigger role now?
Solid. That's another position where if you don't notice them, that's a good thing. We still want better play across the board there, but I think it's been solid. I think those guys are fighting to get better, and you're seeing more and more guys get in there. You saw Jelani make a big play for us. That was huge. So you're seeing us play with 13 personnel. I mean, those guys were on the field during that 4-minute drill. They were a big part. There's 3 tight ends out there going to finish the game off. So they're doing a lot of things right, and we got to keep building with that group.
Joey Kaufman.
I don't think we asked you about it since the Nebraska game, but Caleb was back there for a couple punts. I think it was the first time this year. But is that something he can do more of? Or just how do you think that's?
Yeah, we want to continue to add to his ability to make an impact on games. And when we feel like it's appropriate to put him back there, we'll do that because we feel like when the ball's in his hands, he's pretty dynamic. We haven't quite had a chance to see him in the open field break free yet, but excited to hopefully get that done soon. But when we think it's it makes sense, we'll put him back there. We also think Brandon does a good job as well.
Austin Ward.
Ryan, do you ever hold your breath watching Quinshon or Travion pass block, run block?
I get excited and watch them pass block and run block. Yeah, it's a tone setter. You can feel it, and that's a big part of playing physical. Whether it's at the second level when you get to a safety or whether it's a linebacker blitzing. But that's for every position. Every position has to set the tone early in the game, and I think the more and more these guys are doing it, the more confidence they're getting in it. It's becoming their identity.
Rob Aller.
Ryan, you said you haven't seen Caleb in the open field. Do you mean in games, or have you seen him in practice?
Well, I saw him in high school play against Buford, and he was all over the field, and he played running back that game. And I remember watching that game thinking, I don't know if I've seen many high school players better than this in the country. I'd take him a running back right now. I remember literally seeing when I was watching the game, and then we saw him return the punt last year, and then he does a nice job in practice. But we're excited to see in the game.
And final question, Bill Landis.
Ryan, in a world where you don't want your quarterbacks to be hit in practice, how do you determine whether or not you guys are going to be good at the QB sneak? Is that not something you know until you get into a game, or do you actually find ways to run that practice?
Yeah, it's a good question. I won't get into the details of it all, but we have spent a lot of time on that, researching it, talking to different folks about the technique on it. But you're right, like you can't really physically get a feel for what that's like until you get it into a game, work through the issues. But it's something we do spend a decent amount of time on in terms of the technique and how we do it.